morning, viewer. Welcome to our Glory Globe TV. Here's the breaking news. Yes, a low carb, high fat, keto-like diet may be linked to higher levels of bad cholesterol and double the risks of cardiovascular events such as blocked arteries, heart attacks, and strokes, according to new research. Our study found that regular consumption of a self-reported diet low in carbohydrates and high in fat was associated with increased level of LDL cholesterol, or that is called the bad cholesterol, and a higher risk of heart disease. Lead study author Dr. Lula Latin with the Healthy Heart Program Prevention Clinic, St. Paul's Hospital and University of British Columbia Center for Heart Lung Innovation in Vancouver, Canada, said in a news release. This study provides an important contribution to the scientific literature and suggests the harms outweigh the benefits, said Christopher Gardner, a research professor of medicine at the Stanford Prevention Research Center, conducted trials on the keto diet. Gardner, the study. Elevated LDL cholesterol should not be dismissed as simply a negligible side effect of a VLCD, that is called very low carb diet or ketogenic diet. Gardner said, pointing to the higher risks of cardiovascular events in individuals with higher ketone levels in the blood when compared to those on a more standard diet. In the study, researchers defined a low carb, high fat, that is called LCHF diet, as 45% of total daily calories coming from fat and 25% coming from carbohydrates. The study, which has not been reviewed, was presented Sunday at the American College of Cardiology's annual scientific sessions together with the World Congress of Cardiology. Our study rationale came from the fact that we would see patients in our cardiovascular prevention clinic with severe hypercholesterolemia following the diet, Latin said during a presentation at the session. Hypercholesterolemia or high cholesterol increases a person's risk of heart attack or other adverse cardiovascular events. This led us to wonder about the relationship between these low-carb, high-fat diets, lipid levels, and cardiovascular disease. And so, despite this, there is limited data on these relationships, he said. The researchers compared the diets of 305 people eating a LCHF diet with about 1,200 people eating a standard diet, using health information from the United Kingdom's database UK Biobank, which followed people for at least a decade. The researchers found that people on the LCHF diet had higher levels of low-density lipoprotein, also known as LDL, cholesterol, and apolipoprotein B. Apolipoprotein B is a protein that codes LDL cholesterol proteins and can predict heart disease better than elevated levels of LDL cholesterol. The researchers also noticed that the LCHF diet participants' total fat intake was higher in saturated fat and had double the consumption of animal sources, 33%, compared to those in the control group, 16%. After an average of 11.8 years of follow-up and after adjustment for other risk factors for heart disease such as diabetes, high blood pressure, obesity, and smoking, people on an LCHF diet had more than 2 times higher risks of having several major cardiovascular events such as blockages in the arteries that needed to be opened with stenting procedures, heart attack, stroke, and peripheral arterial disease, researchers found, according to the news release. The researchers said in the release that their study can only show an association between the diet and the increased risks of major cardiac events, not a causal relationship, because it was an observational study, but their findings are worth further study, especially when approximately 1 in 5 Americans report being on a low-carb, keto-like or full keto diet. Latin said the study's limitation include big measurement errors that occur when dietary assessments and self-reported. The study's small sample size and that most of the participants were British and did not include other ethnic groups. The study also looked at the longitudinal effects of following the diet, whereas most people who follow a keto-like diet tend to follow it intermittently for shorter periods of time. Most of the participants, 73%, were said is quite interesting to see, but it also supports the literature that's available that women in general tend to follow more dietary patterns, tend to be more interested in changing their lifestyles. When asked if there were any groups that were not harmed by following a LCHF diet, Lathan said how long people are on the diet and whether or not they lose weight can counterbalance any LDL elevation. BNS report, Glory Group TV, Delhi, India.